Like most gamers, you could say that I like Fallout. Gotta drink my Nuka-Cola.
Howdy, partner.
Buffalo Bills, I do. Fallout is one of my favorite universes in gaming, and I'm sure that sentiment is echoed throughout the gaming community. I've had this New Vegas displayed up behind me for what seems like forever, so when I heard that there was gonna be a Fallout show, I was pretty excited, dude. Did I think it was gonna be good? Not really. I mean, I had my doubts. And can you blame me? In a world where we have game adaptations like this, and this, it's pretty tough not to be skeptical. It's like there's a curse on them or something. Although it has kind of been breaking recently, especially with cartoons and anime. We've got Edge Runners, Arcane, Castlevania. The Last of Us was pretty decent.
But that's not an anime.
So the show comes out, everybody loves it. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. I don't think it's that good, but I saw it and I liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty great. The characters are fun and likable.
You wanna make my cock explode now?
And I think it nailed the essential aspects of Fallout. I don't think fan service by itself makes a good game adaptation, but when you're adapting a world as iconic as Fallout that has impacted millions of gamers around the world, you better make damn sure that it's accurate to the games. And by God, they did just that and beyond. This show is crazy. They put so much meticulous detail into crafting this world. Everything down to the switches that open doors in the vaults is ripped straight from the game. The world of Fallout is so unique. I love its retro futuristic aesthetic, its 1940s and 50s music. It's a world where the Cold War turned out much differently than it did in our reality. According to the lore, the Fallout universe never developed the microchip, and things like the Pip-Boy and terminals run on vacuum tubes. The games follow something called the Great War, and a corporation named Vault-Tec had prepared for this war by building a shit ton of Fallout shelters or vaults all across America. And in each game, you exit one of these vaults, except New Vegas.
The game was rigged from the start.
A few moments later.
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
The show follows a character named Lucy. She's from Vault 33, and she sets out into the Los Angeles wasteland to find her kidnapped father. So its plot is very reminiscent of the plot from Fallout 3. In that game, you also venture out to find your father. But I don't think he's been taken in that game. Do you get it? Taken? Basically, this show is much better than I ever thought it would be. I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I had a great time watching it. I love how the sane parts of the community came together and tried to figure out what kind of stats Lucy had before she headed out into the wasteland, and what kind of stats she would have realistically at the end of the show based on what she did in each episode. It's just fun stuff like that that I love about the Fallout community. Believe it or not, there are parts of the Fallout community that like fun, and don't just obsess over boobs and the timeline.
You gotta be kidding me.
It should be noted that this show clearly takes more inspiration from Fallout 4 than any of the other Fallouts. The first two games are drastically different in tone than Fallout 4. Also, the writing and game design in Bethesda's Fallouts pale in comparison to 1 and 2 and New Vegas, so thank God Bethesda wasn't writing the show. But I still liked Fallout 4, okay? There's stuff to like about all of the Fallout games, in my opinion. There are so many Easter eggs in this show that you could easily lose count. It feels like every other scene is littered with tons of references from the games. A staggering amount of detail went into making this world feel authentic to the Fallout games.
My favorite one, they had me come into the vault, it's like the overseer's chamber, sit down at the desk, and there's a pile of papers, just in case the camera goes there. You know, there's a letter to the overseer, but it's a stack, so I flip it open, and then they have like the power consumption in the vault, and I sat there and read it. It's like, you guys went all the way.
It's so funny how all these anti-woke YouTubers were shitting on the show before it was even released because they expected it to be woke, and then some of them even ended up liking the show after it came out. Even though it stars a trans character. Fallout series director says it's not made for fans. Fallout is a disaster already. Woke Hollywood ruins another franchise. Amazon Fallout series already fucked. Amazon's Fallout TV series woke trash. Some very concerning signs already. Good lord. And then you've got weirdos on Twitter that are obsessing over Ella Purnell's ass because they think it's not fat enough in the advertising, so they changed it to make it look way worse. We get it, dude. You're addicted to porn. Like, come on. It's so embarrassing. I fully expect this guy tried to watch the show with mods.
Yep. And then, oh fuck, okay. Oh, I didn't know I had that mod on.
And then you have other people on Twitter that are hating on the show because they don't understand Fallout at all. This show turned me into that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. You know, the one where he's pointing at the TV screen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? That was me the entire time we were watching. There are even extremely subtle Easter eggs throughout the show that you could easily miss, such as Grognak the Barbarian on the TV for the kids in the beginning, the Atomic Queen appliances, the bobblehead, the medkit on the wall with a stim pack inside, even the ammo boxes, Nuka-Cola machines, and rotating block signs. They even went as far as to make the buttons on the doors as faithful as possible. I watched this with my wife, and it was pretty funny when we were watching it because when the nuke went off, I was like, oh, well, okay. And my wife was very surprised by it. She was like, oh no, what are they gonna do? And I'm just sat there thinking, well, I mean, obviously that was gonna happen. I should add that my wife liked the show, despite the fact that she's never touched a Fallout game. I appreciate this show so much because of the little things, like when Lucy's dad calls her his little sugar bomb, and how quirky and weird they made the vault residents. The character Lucy is so endearing, and Ella Purnell played her perfectly. There are 3 main characters that we follow throughout the show. There's Lucy, Cooper Howard, or the Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins, and Maximus from the Brotherhood of Steel, played by Aaron Moten. There's also a subplot involving Lucy's brother. His name's Norm, and he's a short king. They really need to start hiring more short kings in Hollywood. I'm so happy that they did that in the show. He's played by Moises Arias.
Now it's time for a real man. It's Rico time.
At first, I thought Norm's subplot was kind of lame, but as the show went on, I was almost more invested in what Norm was doing than what Lucy was doing. That was until the end when everything wraps up and you're like, oh my god, the big reveal. The show is also really funny. Like Lucy immediately asking her new husband Monty his sperm count. It's like watching 2 Redditors get married.
So what's your sperm count?
I definitely wasn't expecting an episode 1 Fallout style red wedding, but I loved it. Although you think there'd be some sort of protocol in place. Like, why wouldn't there be a vault scout or something? Someone that goes from one vault to another to make sure there's no funny business going on. Instead, they intermingle almost immediately upon meeting. Although I doubt something like this has happened to them before, so they had no reason to be suspicious, but still. The raider leader Moldaver gives Lucy's father a choice. She says them or her. And it made me think that a decision prompt was about to pop up on screen. Apparently Maximus survived the bombs in a fridge when he was a kid, you know, Indiana Jones style. Not that he would survive anyway, but there's a hole in the back of the fridge. He would be burnt to a crisp. It was so cool seeing these live action T-60 suits. I'm sorry, they're badass, okay? What do you want from me? Even the barracks, the drop ships, and the Pridwin are straight from the games. And I love how they included a guy beating his meat in the barracks with his homies around. Okay, all right, sure. We even get the junk jet from Fallout 4. What don't they include in this show? Some were annoyed how the T-60 power armor's helmet opened up, but I didn't mind it all that much. I thought it was a clever way to show us Maximus's face without him having to take his helmet off. Also, the Ghoul's intro is pretty slick.
This is the weirdest circle jerk I've ever been invited to.
The lighting in this show is a lot more dreamy and bright and vibrant than it is in the games. It's a little bit more reminiscent of Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, but the other Fallout games are very dreary and dim and dead looking. New Vegas has this like dry, dead orange color palette, while 3 has this green, dead color palette. I don't think matching those colors would have made the show better. It would have been kind of weird, actually. The way the show was lit kind of reminded me of a commercial, and I wasn't the only one who thought this.
With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy.
We're introduced to a character named Dr. Siggy Wilzig. Gotta say, Pretty epic name. It's very Fallout. He has a pet dog named Dog Meat. I guess it was clarified that these dogs were everywhere, like they were cloned or something, or manufactured for people. That's why this guy has one, and then you find one in Fallout 4, etc. And they get shot at by a turret. Pretty cool seeing those turrets in live action, by the way. Although they miss every single shot? I mean, come on, dude, just watch this part. They should be Swiss cheese right now. These turrets fuck you up in the games, so I'm just confused. Was this one malfunctioning? So Maximus is a squire for this asshole Brotherhood of Steel knight named Titus, and he's acted by the annoying dip Michael Rappaport.
You know, this whole crap with this 2-ton radiated bear. Shit, shut the fuck up.
Which kind of made it more satisfying when they made him a piece of shit in the show and killed him.
The worst squire there is.
Also, this guy is wearing power armor and he gets bested by a bear. What the hell? This is the most pathetic Brotherhood of Steel knight in existence. And I know that's kind of the point, but he literally runs away from it. In the lore, if you're wearing one of these things, you're a walking tank. Nothing can take you down. It's so dumb. Sorry, the mutated bears in Fallout are called Yaogwai. How could I forget? I love the freaks that the main cast meet on their journey, whether it's a weird guy in a diaper, or a dude who is fucking some other guy's chickens, or people selling dog meat. Also, why did Lucy arrive at Diamond City from Fallout 4? If she's in LA and Diamond City is in New England, I'm kind of confused by that. Unless this is a very similar looking city to Diamond City, like they're all taking after each other or something. It's probably just me, it probably just resembles Diamond City. In this show, Lucy is a super naive girl who's looking for her father. She knows nothing about the surface, and I think the writing and Ella Purnell's acting played that part perfectly. There's this Western shootout scene with the Ghoul, and it's surprisingly gory, and it recreates the cinematic kill cams from the game. I mean, come on, man. This show is sick. The Ghoul is still wearing the same clothes that he was wearing 200 years ago, by the way. He's gotta be one stinky fella. Walking next to this guy is probably similar to going to a Smash Bros convention.
I absolutely agree.
Oh, that's a controller break.
That's unfortunate.
The writing throughout this show is pretty great sometimes. When the Ghoul is fighting Maximus, he says this to him.
Well, I'd say come up here and get me, but it's hard to walk upstairs when you're wearing a 12-piece cast iron skillet set.
It's pretty sharp writing, it's witty, it shows that they care.
You mean use my cock?
I like it, okay? Also, Lucy has this catchphrase. She says, okie dokie, all the time, and I loved it.
Okie dokie.
I thought it was super cute, and it gave her character. Dr. Wilzig has a very important piece of tech with him, and everybody is after it. The Brotherhood of Steel, the Ghoul, the Raiders, Vault Tech, everybody wants it. It plays a similar role to the Platinum Chip in Fallout New Vegas. And I just love that everybody's searching for this guy's head. It's super reminiscent of a typical Fallout quest. You know, it's very ridiculous. It's super out there, it's quirky, it's funny, it's something that I would expect from a Fallout game. When Dr. Wilzig asks Lucy to decapitate him in the middle of the desert and deliver his head somewhere, and she says, okie dokie, before revving up a handsaw, I knew I was watching a show written by professionals. I liked how Max sold a tooth for a cap so he could afford to fix a part. Bruh. Although if they really wanted to be faithful to the games, they'd have him collect a bunch of random bullshit like buckets, wrenches, pens, clipboards, etc., and then sell it all. There's a part that kind of bothered me. A bunch of bandits try and steal Maximus's power armor, and Max tries to stop them. So they start beating the shit out of him. He's very much outnumbered. Picking a fight here is so dumb. But he does anyway because he desperately doesn't want his power armor to be stolen. The fight here overall is pretty sloppy. In reality, they would just beat the shit out of him very quickly and then kill him. But instead they start punching him inside of his armor so he can slip his hand into it and crush one of their skulls. Like, okay. I'm just saying if they had to have raiders come and steal his stuff, have him survive in a way that makes more sense, because this whole scene felt like a massive plot contrivance. I know he's got power armor, but his plot armor is working overtime. Why would they punch him inside of his armor? Like, that's the one thing you want to keep him away from. And it's like they shove him in there. While you're in these suits, it changes your voice, I suppose. There's like a
voice changer in the helmet.
This wasteland sucks.
It makes your voice deeper and more manly and scary. And Maximus has this old friend named Thaddeus, a fellow squire. Maximus is pretending to be Titus, the asshole knight that died earlier. So Maximus is given a new squire by the Brotherhood because they think he's Titus. And his new squire is Thaddeus. So now there's this awkward dynamic between them. They drop off Thaddeus, and now Thaddeus is following around Maximus posing as Titus. Because obviously he doesn't want to tell him that he killed a knight or whatever. But he didn't really kill him, did he? He just let him die from his wounds. So why not just be honest with Thaddeus off the bat? I think that would save you a lot of trouble. Although maybe Thaddeus would be jealous or something. There's this golden rule quote by the Ghoul, and it's pretty great.
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time.
So Norm's subplot is all about visiting neighboring vaults. And the vault next to their vault was filled with raiders. All this bullshit happened, they were able to defend themselves, and then they moronically try and integrate the raiders into their society? Why would they do that? Why would they ever do that? The way this song kicks in as Maximus is trying to save Thaddeus from the Gulper is pretty great. The gunslinger Ghoul is not the only Ghoul that we meet in this show. We meet one of his Ghoul friends named Roger, just before he goes feral. So the gunslinger Ghoul kills him, and then eats him.
Sometimes, fella's gotta eat a fella.
And he convinces Lucy to chow down on some of his ass jerky. I wish I was joking, that's actually what they say. They call it ass jerky.
Ass jerky don't make itself.
And they carry some around with them for later. You never know when you're gonna need some ass jerky. This part's kind of ironic, isn't it? For all the people out there that saw the show Yellow Jackets, Ella Purnell was also in that show. But in that show, she dies and she's eaten by her friends. And now in this show, she's eating someone else. It's all coming round full circle, isn't it? I already liked this show, but as soon as they introduced Mr. Handy, voiced by Matt Berry, I fell in love. What a perfect casting choice.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
His voice is so iconic. For those of you who have seen the incredible comedy show, What We Do in the Shadows, you know what I'm talking about. This guy, he's hilarious.
Got my cake caught in the door.
Well, yank it out!
His delivery is incredible.
He's my best friend, he's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
And the fact that Mr. Handy repairs Lucy's finger only to harvest her organs later is so good.
I thought I was here to be a sex slave.
What? No, I'm simply going to harvest your organs.
This place is an organ harvesting facility, and Lucy wakes up just in time so she can stop her organs from being harvested. A little bit of a plot contrivance again, but it was funny, okay? It was fun. If it's fun, then I can look past it. Like, why did Mr. Handy just give her more sedative if she woke up? Although it is a dumb robot, so. And it's not like she's 1,000 pounds, right? It's not like more sedative would be required for her. Maybe she has an incredible metabolism or something. I don't know. I'm dumb. I don't know anything. There's these two druggy guys that are in charge of the organ harvesting, and they harvest organs from ghouls as well, which is kind of strange. Among these ghouls are feral ghouls. I guess they would have to sedate them before they harvested from them, but anyway. Lucy orders them at gunpoint to release all the ghouls, because she thinks it's unfair and mean, and she wants them to be free. So they release all the normal ghouls and they run away. Lucy's like, hey, you forgot some. And they're like, dude, they're feral. We probably shouldn't release those. And Lucy's like, I don't care. Release them. She doesn't even give them a second to talk, and they just agree to do so because she fires a warning shot. You would think that they would try a little harder to explain to her why they shouldn't be released. Obviously, she has no idea what she's talking about. I don't care if she fires a warning shot. I would say, hey, listen to me. These things are deadly and will try and kill you if I release them. Is that really what you want? But they're like, oh god, she shot at me, so let's release them. After being released, these feral ghouls kill these guys, and Lucy's plot armor saves her. It's dumb, but whatever. It was still a fun scene.
Oh gosh.
At this point, Thaddeus still thinks Maximus is Titus. And it's like this honorary tradition for a knight to brand his squire. And Thaddeus begs Maximus to brand him, thinking it's Titus. God, there's so many names that end with us. It's a little confusing, to be honest. I'll just start calling them Max and Thad and Tide. Pod. Maximus then brands Thaddeus, and then afterward reveals to him that he's actually Maximus. What? Dude, if you were going to reveal who you were, you think you would do it before branding your friend? Like, this guy was under the impression that he was being branded by this knight. Oh my god. Obviously, Thaddeus is not very pleased with this.
I can't believe you let you fucking brand me.
So Thaddeus removes the suit's power core so Maximus is stuck in it, which is a pretty funny detail. Although in the games, doesn't the suit automatically eject the user if there's no power core? If it didn't work this way, then these suits would be very dangerous. They would have to keep a very watchful eye on their power level, lest they get stuck in their suit in the baking sun, effectively turning the power armor from a killing machine to a brazen bull. Maximus's luck stat must be up there, because randomly Lucy shows up and saves him from the suit. Lucy has rad sickness from drinking radiated water and eating the ass jerky. Fucking delicious. So Max gives her rad away for helping him. There's a moment when Lucy and Maximus come across two people on a bridge. And at first I thought Lucy's speech stat must be impressive, because it appeared as though she was able to talk them out of getting shot. That was until they tried passing one another, and a fight breaks out, so I guess she failed the check. You lose! You can always tell a bad guy in the Fallout world by their fucked up teeth and moles. My god, look at the bags under this girl's eyes. Has she slept at all this year? And here I go again, turning into Leo from that meme. I recognize that woman. I know her from somewhere. Is that Cricket? I'm pretty positive that's Cricket.
Just think how damn good it'll feel holding one of these.
Huh? It's just little things like this that I appreciate so much about this show. You can tell that they cared so much about making this a show for Fallout fans. I just think that's cool, okay? And then we have, you know, shows like Halo. Walton Goggins doesn't just shine as the cool gunslinging ghoul. We also see him from the past, when he was a movie star before the bombs dropped named Cooper Howard. It's really fun seeing the differences between his two characters. It shows us how the wasteland has changed him over time.
To the future.
Also, I guess he was the inspiration behind the Vault Boy. We also meet Matt Berry from the past, the guy who was paid to provide his voice to the robot.
We could party in the hot tub. What do you think of that?
Oh, no. No, thank you.
Okay.
In this show, Maximus is a turbo virgin, and it's hilarious.
You want to make my cock explode now? Sorry? Intercourse?
There's one exchange between him and Lucy that is so funny. Lucy is also extremely awkward, and she asks him if he wants to have sex. And he's like,
You mean use my cock?
And then he compares his dick to a pimple.
It gets all big and hard like a big pimple and then it pops.
What did he say?
The writing in this show is so weird, but I love it. Lucy finds a board with dates and events on it. And I think this is where people got their pickles in a twist. I think it's pretty ballsy for the showrunners to put this in, considering how hardcore the Fallout fanbase can be. If you are wrong about something, the Fallout fans will notice. And by God, they noticed. Holy hell, a lot of people latched onto this scene. Lots of people were complaining about the fall of Shady Sands, because Shady Sands plays a pretty huge role in the Fallout lore, and they thought that the show got the dates wrong, because Shady Sands could not have been destroyed by a nuke before the events of Fallout New Vegas. But I think what the board actually is trying to tell us is that something happened to Shady Sands on this date, and whatever it was caused the fall of the town, and the nuke came afterwards, sometime after the events of Fallout New Vegas. But a lot of people don't like this explanation. They think when it says the fall of Shady Sands, then that means, you know, obviously it was nuked because it points to a nuke. Also, this vault could have just got the dates wrong, but according to Todd Howard, the fall of Shady Sands is not referring to the nuke, and it was nuked after 2281.
We're threading it tight there, but the bomb falls just after the events of New Vegas. Like, that's when Shady Sands blows.
So basically the fall of Shady Sands, it doesn't mean a nuke necessarily.
Correct.
He also confirmed that nothing in the Fallout lore is being retconned.
Fabulous. That's great.
Maximus has lived his entire life on the surface, and he's never been to a vault. So when they're introduced to one, all of a sudden Lucy is the one with the experience, while Maximus is taking it all in for the first time. And I thought that was a really cool way to change up the character dynamic.
They gave me a robe.
I know.
and slippers.
Throughout the show, they've been referencing this person named Flame Mother, and it turns out that's the Raider cult leader Moldaver, the same person that took Lucy's dad, the same woman that Cooper Howard met in the past. There are fish ladies that give birth to fish in Vault 4.
Huh?
I have nothing to add to that, I just thought I would mention it.
Okie dokie.
There's this man and his son that the Ghoul interrogates, and when they introduce them, they're wearing NCR Ranger gear, and I thought that was so cool, dude. Some people online complained that his helmet wasn't on correctly, and I was like, whatever. He probably doesn't give a shit. He probably just places it on, and this is 15 years after New Vegas. This guy's just trying to survive. I don't think he cares whether or not his suit is on properly or not. It was just cool to see it in general. It's so cool that they made the Red Rocket gas station from Fallout 4. I know Fallout 4 is in New England, but gas stations are all across America. It very well could be that there's a Red Rocket gas station in California as well. I love how they show the discrepancies and differences between all the vaults. The people in Vault 4 are just completely fucked up freaks. It's amazing. There's this guy with a random ear on his head. Cronenberg moment, Cronenberg moment. Maximus misinterpreting Vault 4's intentions and then beating the shit out of all of them in power armor was amazing.
They're letting me go.
Really?
My wife had no idea what the Fallout universe was about before watching this show, and the show introduced the world to her in such a way where she was able to pick up the rules of the world fairly quickly, and I thought that was nice. The point being, this show was chock full of game references, but it didn't need them to be good. You could easily watch this show without being a Fallout fan and enjoy it, because of the good writing, the fun characters, the great acting, and it's just like a really funny and weird show. I think that helps a lot. There's a part when the Ghoul treats the dog with respect, and my wife said this verbatim.
You see, even old ghouls like him have a soft spot for furry sweeties.
There's a part when Thaddeus gets shot with a crossbow, and it made me burst out laughing. It was so sudden and out of nowhere. It caught me completely off guard. I loved it. Why am I not dead, he says. It's this type of humor that's incredibly prevalent in the games, and I appreciated that so much. Like this part, when Lucy and Maximus kiss, the heads that they're holding also kiss. It's so funny. Can you guys tell I like the show? It's just good fun, okay? There's a moment when Norm hacks the Overseer's computer using the same system from the games. I have to admit, stuff like this gets me so hyped. I love seeing this. Fan service works on me, alright? And I'm tired of pretending that it doesn't. There's this tiny, ridiculous black car in episode 8, and it's so funny.
Good to see you, buddy. Yeah.
I love that they put the cars from the 50s in this show. Although I think this particular car might be its own unique thing, but I'm not sure. Honestly, all of the cars could be their own unique designs. I'm just ignorant to car stuff. And then there's this brain bot reveal, and it's incredible.
Initiate Protocol 53.
There is one thing that really bothered me about the power armor. Apparently the Ghoul knows the flaws of the power armor. He shoots a certain spot on the armor and it just kills the guy inside. I thought that was so dumb. Why'd they do that? Come on, the show was a decent like 8 out of 10 and then they had to do that. Ugh. They weakened the power armor substantially in this show compared to the games, and I didn't like that at all, especially since this is the latest in the entire series. Like, the power armor should only be improving as time goes on, right? Not becoming shittier? I mean, maybe they're all just using very old power armor. I just didn't like it, all right? And I get that this Ghoul is good with his gun, but come on, man. You're able to shoot this tiny little spot in the power armor. So stupid. There is a New Vegas reveal at the end of the show, and it's pretty epic. Although New Vegas in the credits looks rather desolate, it's not like the shining jewel in the desert like it was in New Vegas, and that's kind of disappointing. It would be super cool if they made New Vegas a reality in the next season without turning it into an extension of the wasteland. They're probably gonna do some bullshit like, oh, the courier ruined everything. Now look at it, there's no one here, it's all sand. But look, the cool buildings, we can just green screen them in. I would hate that. It'd be so cool in season 2 if they gave us a real New Vegas to see. Even if it is many years after the events of the game New Vegas. I would just like to see a lively New Vegas instead of a dead New Vegas. That would be kind of boring and lame. Jonathan Nolan, a director that directed 3 episodes of the show, said this: everyone who worked on Fallout, all the games, were so respectful and so careful to keep this consistent universe. If we'd gone a different direction, the show would be the only thing that doesn't fit the universe. Halo. We didn't want to be in our own private corner of an Elseworld or a different universe. I think that would be less meaningful to me watching the series, to know it was completely divorced from the reality of the games. So they wrote the story as if it existed within the universe that the games are in. I love that, instead of trying to create its own universe. Like, what the I will never get over how they butchered Halo. I will never forgive them. I saw some complaints online about the Brotherhood of Steel, how they only keep to themselves, and they only care about technology. They could care less about the wasteland as a whole. I have two things to say to this. This is in the future. The Brotherhood of Steel could have changed a little bit. The leadership is different now. It has this same like culty religious vibe, but way more culty than it does in the games, at least from what I remember. And they still seek technology. Isn't that what this doctor's head leads to? So it still kind of makes sense for the Brotherhood of Steel. I do remember them mostly just hanging out in their little vaults, and they would send knights out to do their bidding. A lot of people also complained about House, but I think Mr. House from the show could very easily be the same Mr. House from New Vegas. I think he knew that Vault-Tec was going to do what Vault-Tec was going to do, despite what he wanted. He didn't believe in the vaults. He thought that he could still create a new life on the surface. He believed in Vegas and wanted to rebuild it. And I don't think he says anything in the show that counters that. If anything, he makes some snarky remarks to the other people in the room. Some people complain that if House knew that the bombs were going to drop, then why didn't he get the platinum chip before the bombs dropped? I don't think he had as much power as people are saying. He knew about what was going to happen, so he tried to prepare as much as possible before it happened. And obviously he didn't get the platinum chip in time.
Okay, do me a favor, courier. I can't get out of this thing, so I need you to go get me the platinum chip. I don't really know what it does, but I just know that you need to go get it.
During the meeting scenes, Mr. House seems completely self-interested, and he doesn't suggest silly vault ideas, leading me to believe that he has a different plan baking in his mind, how he's going to survive the bombs and create a new world on the surface that he controls in Vegas. Because this dude loves casinos, he loves gambling, man. This is his city, he loves it. There's also some rules about the ghouls that they changed drastically for the show. Ghouls in the games are ticking time bombs, and they will eventually go feral, no matter what. The show introduces this serum, or this drug, that will postpone going feral for the ghouls, so they can live normally, or relatively normally. The show is in the future, so perhaps a cure to going feral was created during that time. But then again, he is 219 years old, and the only reason he was able to live so long is because of this special yellow liquid.
What is this?
Smells like this.
Which means it must have existed for a long time. But for some reason, none of the games ever brought this up. I guess it could be possible that your character and all of the people your characters meet throughout all of the games, somehow none of them knew of this special yellow liquid.
This is piss.
Also, the ghoul finds a massive stash of the stuff in the organ harvesting facility. Like, this guy just beat the hardest dungeon boss in a raid or something, because holy shit, that's a pretty good pull. Why drink piss when you can drink grandpa's ashes? This video is sponsored by Gamer Sups. Do you love energy drinks, but, you know, they're killing you and they're a little bit too expensive? Then Gamer Sups is for you. They'll give you a ton of energy, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, less than 1 calorie. This is a healthier and cheaper alternative to regular energy drinks. Buy 1 container and it'll last you the next 12 years. Any purchase of the Arctic Cooler or Red Raspberry flavors will receive a free waifu wrap cup Battle Girl. Basically, one of these flavors are going to be discontinued. The one that sells the most is staying. So if you like either flavor, then you should get them while they're still available. I personally like the flavors lemonade and mango meta. They've also got soups, gamer soups, if that's your jam. Get 10% off by going to gamersups.gg/Elvis or click the link at the top of the description. Stop drinking coffee, stop drinking Red Bull, get yourself some Gamer Sups, and make sure to use my link. They also have cool merch like this. Okay, back to the video. I gotta say, everybody in the show was a little bit too lucky for my taste. Plot armor was a little bit too thick for me, but I had so much fun watching it, I'm able to look past that. I'm really excited to see what they do with Season 2 and New Vegas. I really hope they don't mess up Season 2, but if it's anything like this season, then I'm excited for it. Just don't fuck up New Vegas. Please. I hope the credits in this show aren't a reflection of New Vegas in Season 2. Please, God. I think the Fallout show is a perfect example of how a game adaptation show should be made. If only we got that for Resident Evil and Halo. It's a shame. So yeah, that's my review of the Fallout show. I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comment section down below. Go to alienclothing.com to get some cool clothes. AYYLIEN clothing.com. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Take me back to old Yazoo. Everything up here is new.